Welcome to the course Theoretical Foundations of Computer Science. As the name suggests, this is the course which deals with the foundations of the computer science courses that we study in the next semesters of the BTech course. Well, the name itself is suggesting that theoretical foundations. It means we are going to focus mainly on the mathematical foundations and the basic mathematics that will be helpful for us in understanding the further courses such as databases, computer networks, compiler design, programming languages, theory of programming, theory of computation, social network analysis, and many more. In order to understand these courses, we need to have the mathematical foundations. The reason is whatever the natural languages that we'll write or will speak are mostly ambiguous, because sometimes a statement may represent multiple meanings. In such a cases, such statements cannot be used for the computer because computer may understand in a different way. Computer can also may think different meanings with that particular statement. When this particular ambiguity comes, then computer may not perform well. Hence, we require a systematic and ambiguous free environment to represent the programming or models for the computer science or computer. So hence we are going to mainly focus on the mathematical logic, which is considered as the pure, because natural languages are ambiguous, and many of the things that to resolve the ambiguity, we can represent them in mathematics or mathematical representations. For example, if I ask you, what is the population in India? Population in India is the sum of male plus sum of female, plus sum of neutral. So when I have added three terms here, sum of all male population plus sum of all female population plus sum of all neutral population. So whenever this particular sum is there, then what we are going to do is sum of all male population, sum of female population, and sum of the neutral population. So that means we are going to clearly mention what is the population in India in terms of formula and mathematical representation, which is completely ambiguous free. So whenever we find the sigma symbol, then we can easily understand that it is a summation symbol. In that way, we can get a clarity out of the concepts that we want to implement. So in the theoretical foundations of computer science, we mainly focus on the mathematical foundations, especially the discrete mathematics theoretical concepts and their applications with respect to the graph theory and the network analysis and the compiler design and programming language design and the grammar design, these kind of things. How these particular discrete structures are helpful for building the logic and can be implemented in the computer science courses in the coming semesters. So here in this course, especially we'll focus on the basics of all these concepts. So here basics is nothing but foundations. So when the foundations are strong, then the corresponding courses can also be easily learned. So that is the reason this course is a very, very important course for understanding the further courses in the BTech Computer Science and IT. Course objectives are as follows. Apply the concept of set theory, relations, and functions in the context of various fields of computer science. Here we mainly focus on the basic discrete structures concepts such as set theory, relations, and functions, and how these are useful for our computer science field, such as database, automata, and compiler design, that we are going to see in this particular course. Especially in the databases, we use the data representation and the relation between the data, and how these particular data sets or databases are related. So these kind of things we are going to see in the databases. Hence, this particular course will help us in understanding the basic structure, underlying structure in the databases, automata and compiler with respect to the implementation of the set theory, relations and functions. The next one is evaluate Boolean functions and analyze algebraic structures using the properties of Boolean algebra. So we all know that computer can understand the representations in terms of Boolean functions. So that means zeros and ones only. So hence we are going to see the Boolean functions and analyze the algebraic structures using the properties of Boolean algebra. Why we are saying it is Boolean algebra means we are going to deal with the mathematics of Boolean values like 0 and 1 and various combinations of Boolean values and various operations on Boolean values and how these particular operations will be held in the computer hardware so that these values or this particular computer can understand in terms of zeros and ones. So these kind of concepts we are going to see in the Boolean functions and Boolean algebra. Because for example, if you might have developed a robot and the robot has to recognize a person, and whenever that person say hello, and the robot has to say hello. That is, he has to reply back with a wish called hello. When is it possible? It is possible only when the robot have the logic inside, such as the coming person or the coming object is a person and the person say hello, then the particular robot has to reply with hello. That means first of all it has to turn on its camera and capture the image, and that image is going to be analyzed, and after analysis, if it found that the object which is in front of the camera is a person, then the person, that means if it confirms a person, then obviously the particular condition was satisfied. That is, if it is true or false was decided there itself. So hence here the object is found as a true, that is, it is a person, so it was found as true. That means true is nothing but 1 in case of Boolean representation. And what is another condition? If the person say hello, then only the robot has to say hello. Otherwise, the robot should keep quiet. That means it has to keep on listening to the voice, or if it has to keep listening to any wish that will come from outside, or any voice that will come out from outside. So whenever it listens to something, and if that particular listening thing is hello, and the first condition is already satisfied, in front of the robot there is an object called a person, okay, and it confirms that it is a person, and that particular person has said hello, so the person is true and hello is also true. So when these two are true, then this particular robot has to reply as hello. That means here Boolean logic will work here, that is condition 1 and condition 2. If condition 1 and condition 2 is satisfied, then the corresponding result has to be given by the robot. That means this is the Boolean functions that we are going to observe in this particular Boolean algebra. So all these are the things are possible with the help of Boolean functions and Boolean algebra. Next one we are going to see is convert formal statements to logical arguments and correlate these arguments to Boolean logic, truth tables, and rules of propositional and predicate calculus. Just now I have given you an example. Here the robot has to recognize what is the object in front of it. If the object is person, and if the person say hello, then the robot has to reply with hello. So this is a normal statement, and this particular statement must be converted into formal form and with the logical arguments, correlating these arguments to the Boolean logic. So case 1 and case 2. If the case 1 is true and case 2 is true, then the reply has to come. So this is the way we are supposed to do. And how, if the case 1 and case 2 is with some other logic, like maybe instead of AND it is OR. If it is not, then what will happen? So that kind of things are going to be represented in terms of truth tables and rules of the propositional and predicate calculus. So these are the things are helpful for us in designing the formal statements and how the formal statements can be converted into logical arguments and how to work on this. So these kind of things we are going to see in this third objective of this particular course. Next one is applying the fundamental principles of counting, combinatorics, and recurrence relations to find complex patterns and sequence in given data sets. Well, here counting and combinatorics are very, very important concepts in computer science. Recurrence relations. Without recursion, there is no programming language. Most of the programming language, most of the applications, with the help of recursion, will write. If you want to write a factorial program or Fibonacci series, so for all these things we use recurrence. When the recurrence or recursive functions are very, very tougher, when the programming or the particular programmer is dealing with the memory. And they are very dangerous if the recurrence is not properly maintained. Sometimes the memory stack may be overflown and the system may crash sometimes, the application may crash. So this kind of things will happen. So how to deal with these recursion relations and how we can apply the fundamental principles of counting, combinatorics and recurrence relations, that we are going to see in the fourth objective. Next one is applying graph theory, concepts of designing solutions of various computing problems, shortest path, graph coloring, job sequencing. These are the various important problems in the graph theory that what we are going to see. So we always prefer to come in shortest path because to save the fuel or to save time. So that is the reason we always look for the shortest path. So there exists some renowned shortest path algorithms available in the graph theory. We are going to discuss them. Next one is graph coloring problem, which is a very hot problem. That means a node is colored with one color and its neighboring nodes should not have this color and should also have some other colors. So there is a set of colors and set of nodes. We should paint them with different colors with some conditions that no adjacent nodes should have the same color and these kind of things. So this graph theory is especially useful in computer networks, social network analysis and any network analysis. So for all these things, to understand all the analysis, then you require to have this particular knowledge of graph theory. The reason is, if you look at in social media, if you have an account and if you may be linked with some friends may be linked with you, and that particular friends may be linked with their own friends, and they may be having common friends with you. So this kind of things, how to analyze. So you are going to make a graph out of that, and with the graph you are supposed to analyze it. So this is what is called graph theory examples. And in case of computer networks, a particular lab may be having 50 computers, and all these 50 computers may be connected to another server. Another lab may be having 50 computers, and those 50 computers may be connected to another server, and these two servers may be connected to the main server, and that main server may be connected to the internet server, and that internet server may be connected to some other DNS servers, etc. outside of the organization. So this kind of things, if you want to view all these kind of things, it will be like a graph. And job sequencing is nothing but how the jobs at the queue level of the server will be processed. This will be represented with the help of job sequencing, and how effectively you process the jobs at the time at the level of server. And not only this job sequencing is not only have the applications in computer science, but in many places this particular applications can be applicable. It has applications. So we are going to see this job sequencing and job scheduling kind of things in the fifth objective of this particular course. And final objective is explain the basic concepts of the automata theory. So this is the automation theory, okay, automata theory and formal languages. Example, finite automata, regular expressions, context-free grammars, etc. So, which are very, very important for developing the programming language syntaxes, developing the compilers. For all these things, we are going to study the basics. So, this is the course objective. Here are the recommended reading materials. In this, the first book we are going to prefer, because the majority of the concepts or majority of the course concepts were covered in this particular course, in this particular subject. In this particular textbook. That is Rosen, K.H. Discrete Mathematics and its Applications with Combinatorics and Graph Theory. Actually, this is what the foreign edition. Our Indian edition is available. Professor Kamala of IIT Madras have included combinatorics and many other concepts, especially graph theory, these kind of concepts, and made an Indian version which is available in library. You may get it. Here Rosen, K.H. Discrete Mathematics and its Applications with Combinatorics and Graph Theory. This is 2008. Actually, it's not 2008. Its latest version is available with the Indian, which is in the Indian edition. So you may get it from the library. And majority of the concepts we are going to deal with this. We are going to discuss in this particular course is from this particular book. And even though it was written by Professor Kamala of IIT Madras, you will get this particular book with the name as Rosen KH only. And remaining other books are the supporting books, and we'll pick some concepts from the various all these books, and we'll try to discuss them in the tutorials and the lectures. So this is what the recommending reading materials. In the next lecture, we'll start with the concept. That is introduction to the discrete mathematics and set theory. And we have the modules like module 1, 2, 3, 4 up to 8 modules, in which the first module we are going to start in the next lecture. And relations, functions and recursions, algebraic structures, logic, counting and combinatorics, graph theory and automata theory. For the test 1, you will get the module 1 and 2. And accordingly the 3, 4, 5 is for the test 2 and remaining are for the final exam. So this is the way the course will be structured, and we are going to see the module 1. We will introduce or we'll start with the module 1 in the next lecture.